Welcome to InventorCAM Professor. I'm Sydney, your InventorCAM Professor, and in this session we'll be teaching you how to create chain geometries with all their options. If we take a look at the part on the screen, there are geometries, chain geometries that we may want to create around this step over here, around this area over here, and if we flip the part around, even on the inside for this pocket. What we'll do is we'll go into our operation, and for this purpose we'll choose the option of profile. Now, just for note, the chain geometry options are available in profiles, they're available in pockets, and they're also available in 3D and HSM operations for creating borders as well. We'll choose the option of geometries. Now, in the window that opens, we have control of how we want to create our geometries. Our geometries can be created in three different ways, either by picking each individual entity, or by automatic chaining, or what we have here called multiple chains, choosing a chain, a few chains in one operation. This will show you later on. We'll start off with the option of curve. Now, the first thing we have all the way on top is the name of the geometry itself. We can either use the default name that's given here or give our own name which suits us best. For instance, I can even write out if I want to do the outside. The next thing we have is this window, which at this moment is empty. What will happen as we go along is as we add chains to our geometry, this window will populate itself. Now, in our next option, we have actually the option of choosing the chains itself, creating the chain itself. And we'll start by creating chains on this side for this area over here to work on this step. Now, the first thing we have is creating it by choosing each individual entity. We'll start off with the option of curve. Curve means as follows. If I go to my entity and simply click on the entity, the chain will automatically start its way. Now you'll note the direction of the arrow. That means my chain is going from this direction around. Now, to continue, I can simply click on the next element, as shown here. Continue more, click on the next. Now, if I were to go and click on this element over here, it'll give me a notification saying that my chain must be continuous. That means the rule is that when you have a chain and you choose the option of curve, there must be continuity of the chain itself. So in other words, in this particular case, I would have to pick that curve there and then this curve. Now, if I want to reverse the direction of my curve, all I do is simply say reverse, and my chain has been reversed. Back to the original. I also have undo step to go back a step. Now this undo steps can go all the way back to the very beginning. Again, if I want to pick my curve, simply click on it. Now if this is enough for me, all I have to do is say accept chain. And my chain now is from that point up until that point over there, and you can see my chain list is now starting to propagate itself. Now, to edit this chain, I simply right click and we have the option of replacing it. We also have the option of editing it. We also have obviously the option of delete. I simply want to go to edit and just say yes, and now I'm back into the operation itself of creating that particular chain. Do undo step, I can go back to this point. Okay. Now, our next option that we have as far as creating, we have, instead of curve, we also have what we call curve plus closed corners. What that does is simple. Let's say I want to create a chain that goes from here straight until it meets this entity over here at its intersection. All I have to do is simply click on curve plus closed corners, click on this element, and what will happen is it'll automatically close the geometry on that corner. It'll actually go to the intersection between the two geometries. Now, another option we have here is point to point, going from one point to another point, and that's exactly what it means. If I were to choose, let's say, this point here, it doesn't recognize anything except the points I pick, and it'll go directly there. Choose this point here, directly there. Choose this point over here, it'll go directly there. This does not take into account the shape of the part or anything, or the shape of the elements. This is literally from one point to the next. Now, as I said before, I always have my undo step, so I can always go back to where I was, such as over here. Now, I like to go back to curve and choose again this curve over here. Now, there's another option we have here called arc by points. There are sometimes cases where I may have an arc that I want to machine, but I want my chain to go only up until a specific area, a specific point on the arc itself. Now, choosing curve will give me the entire arc. Choosing point to point will give me a line directly from this point to here, which is not what I want. So we have the option of arc by points. Arc by points means as follows. We all know that if I have 3 points, there's only one arc that can go through those 3 points. So that's exactly what I'm doing. I have to create, or I should say, pick 3 points on the arc. Now my first point is already there because that's where I'm actually ended off in the last time. Now you'll note what it says on the bottom over here. It says pick next point. I'll simply pick a second point over here on the arc, and then I'll pick a third point, a point where I want to finish. I'll click over there, and you'll see now that my geometry, my chain, is actually up until that point only. Didn't take the entire arc, it only took part of the arc itself. Now, as far as our other options, such as automatic options and the multi-chain options, we'll discuss that in our next lesson of creating chain geometries. Thank you for joining us on InventorCAM Professor. Take care and have a nice day.